January 15th, Jesus asks, "Who do you say that I am?" Jesus went on with his disciples to the villages of Caesarea Philippi, and on the way he asked his disciples, "Who do people say that I am?" And they answered him, "John the Baptist," and others, "Elijah," and still others, "one of the prophets." He asked them, "But who do you say that I am?" Peter answered him, "You are the Messiah." And he sternly ordered them not to tell anyone about him. Would you like to explain that to us?
Well, I think it's pretty self-explanatory when you say.
No.
Okay. Well, he's like, who do people, what?
He's asking, and
he's like, what's word on the streets? What's the word on the streets? What's the word on the streets about this dude named Yeshua?
Yeah.
And they're all giving him different things. Notice also that one person says John the Baptist. So John the Baptist and Jesus are very intertwined. And I think in truth, we will never know probably, but in truth, I think they were a lot more closer to being equals. They both had followings. They were both regarded as having divine origins, right? As you recall, John's mother was post-menopausal when she had him, apparently. And when Herod is like looking for all the newborns and stuff, like she takes him into the mountain, right? Whereas Jesus goes to Egypt. So you can see that this was a very important figure at the time. John the Baptist was. And his whatever he was completely intertwined with Jesus. As a side note. But yeah, so he's asking them, and they're saying a bunch of stuff. And then he says, well, that's what they're saying. What are you saying? Mm-hmm. And Peter says, you're the Messiah. And then this is the part that's pertinent to me anyways. Mm-hmm. He sternly orders them not to tell anyone about him. So first of all, he's confirming that he's right. That these other answers, prophets, Elijah, all that stuff, that's bunk. And then he's telling his disciples not to say anything about the fact that he's the Messiah to anyone.
Why?
Why? I don't know. Why do you think?
Well, this is why I asked you to explain it to us, because I have no idea, and you are more knowledgeable when it comes to Yeshua than we are.
No, think about it. This is 100% Taoist. This is 100% Taoist as well. Think about it.
Is it the recognition? He doesn't need the recognition?
Right.
Is that all it is?
It's humility. It's the fact that he knows what he is, but he doesn't want to advertise it. Just like the sage doesn't take credit, right? Accomplishes everything, leaves nothing undone, retires when the work is done. Doesn't stick around for a pat on the shoulder or an award or anything. And that's how I interpret it. It's the same way with him. When he's going around doing all these things, he keeps telling his disciples, like, don't tell people about this. Like, he's going and healing people and doing all these things. And he's like, don't tell anyone about this. And of course,
they do.
They tell everyone.
And then he dies.
Well, no, and then more people come to him and he heals them and he says the same thing to them. Don't tell anyone about this.
But the thing is that path of people sharing and not listening
is
to
what
him
leads to
is
him
what
being
leads
killed.
to him, because then he's a threat.
Yeah.
But if everyone would have kept quiet, he would have just continued to do the work.
Potentially, yeah. But I also think that he knew that eventually it was going to get out. Mm-hmm. And I think that in some ways, because I think personally that the man, Yeshua, there probably was a real person, a real man. I think he was like one of the world's most brilliant psychologists. I think that was truly one of the things that he was. Not the only thing he was, but he had a deep understanding of humans and human mind and human psyche. And yeah, so I think he knew that by telling his disciples and other people, like he would heal someone and say, don't tell anyone about this. He knew that by saying that, they would tell everyone about it. Mm-hmm. Right? So maybe that's what he was doing. I don't know. I'm just spitballing here, but he had a very deep understanding. Like he was like a Jungian psychologist 2,000 years before Jung was born. Mm-hmm. Like I think he had a deep understanding of like archetypes and like energies and all these different things, chakras, right? Because I think he went around and he studied with everybody. Mm-hmm. He learned, for sure he went to India, for sure. Egypt, India. I strongly suspect he learned from Zen Buddhists, Chinese, Taoists, and then he came in and he put it all together, right? But that helped him to understand and to see how these different minds and different cultures worked. Yeah.
So why do you think, if he knew something was going to happen, why do you think he did it? Because it was his truth?
Yeah, and he wanted to
choice.
show that death has no power over you. Death is nothing.
So he was just really, it was selfless the whole way through.
He was proving his point. Yeah, 100%. He was living his truth. He wasn't just speaking it to people. He also, his whole life was an expression of that same truth. He spread the word, and then he did it. He walked the walk, and he talked the talk. You know what I mean? And it's the same with Socrates. He proved his point by dying, by allowing the state to kill him. They gave him it out, and he was like, nope, death is nothing, but my truth is everything. And I'll die for it. I won't admit that I did something I didn't do just to get out of this, because death means nothing to me. Death means nothing to Jesus, right? It's not that it means nothing, but it's a very distant consideration. There are way more important things in life to make decisions based on than whether I'm going to die if I do this. And that's what Marcus Aurelius says too, in a lot of his meditations, right? He says, like, a good person will never ask whether the outcome will be good or bad. They only wonder if this is the right thing to do. And if it's the right thing to do, they're going to do it regardless of the outcome, right? They're never concerned with the outcome. They're only concerned with what's right and doing that. And that's, again, renouncing and rejoicing in a lot of ways, right? It's like, what's the right thing to do? Doing that is the reward.
That's beautiful, babe. Thank you for sharing all that and for making the connections to Socrates and Marcus.
Yeah, I've been thinking about this stuff a long time, obviously, and they all have so many parallels. It's just like a big web, and it's the same stuff, just in different cultural disguises. Stay centered, or close to the center, my friends.
Yeah, even if you just go in it for 5 minutes, that's a win. Just aim for 5 minutes
just
a day.
Just flirt with it a little bit. Yeah, try to hang out there as much as you can, but any amount will do.
But starting off, even 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Right? And then you'll build from there.
And real quick, how would you get centered for 5 minutes a day? What would be your practice? Go. How would you do it?
First thing in the morning, in silence by myself.
Doing what? Just...
Doesn't even matter.
You have to be awake. Okay.
I have to be awake. Meditate, stretch.
Yoga.
Ground, yoga pose. Feel the sun on my face, on my deck.
Yep.
Anything.
Good.
Yeah.
You heard it here first. 5 minutes a day. Keeps the psychologist away.